One thing I see happening quite a lot and that I have experienced myself is that when you're a person who has these expanded perceptual abilities, extrasensory perceptions, multidimensional or interdimensional awareness, whatever we want to call that expanded perception of reality, especially gifts in the unseen realms. What can happen is when you're in certain rooms, whether that's an online room or a real life in-person room, you can say your thing, but if you say your actual truth at its edge, there's either crickets and other people are kind of going, I don't know what to do with that, or somebody kind of goes, I'm trying to fit that into my current existing mental constructs and frameworks, and they end up totally diluting and squashing and contracting what you said so that your experience fits into their current mental constructs. And this is really common. And of course, this is what happens. It's really, really common that this is a feature. However, it leaves the person who needs to have their truth told, needs to have their own full expression witnessed by somebody. It leaves them kind of going, who can I say this to? And over the past 6 years, people have said their thing to me, their thing that nobody else can hear, their thing where they're operating at a greater sense of openness than generally is accepted, to the point where it's almost like they're anticipating contraction in other people or anticipating being misread. So it leads to people thinking, oh, well, I'd better just squash myself down a bit because I don't really want to be constantly misinterpreted. Because if you are getting misinterpreted, and if this is an online space and somebody writes a comment that has misinterpreted you, it's almost like it changes the original message that you put out there. And then if other people jump on it and they are more aligned with the comment than with your original message, it can go wrong really quite quickly. And the more sensitive you are, which obviously people who have many more extrasensory perceptions, abilities to move in different realms, they are generally more sensitive. So they're perceiving at depth, seeing between the lines all the time. So it's more likely that those people would be able to correctly anticipate what is the perceived feedback that's going to arrive. So they go into this mental narrative of, if I say this thing, then it's likely that I will get this thing back. And I don't really want that. So I think I'll just not bother saying my thing, right? And it leads to this holding back. And it's more common than we might like to admit. This isn't a visibility issue. It's not a confidence issue. Very often these people are highly, highly capable, highly confident, often a very professional background and multiple grounded skills, as well as these other dimensional realities and non-linear thinking going on. Now, there's a pattern here with something I experienced years ago. This was probably about 7 years ago now, so it's sort of like 2018, 2019 time. I was going through multiple rounds of ongoing abuse by somebody in my life, and it was very subtle, extreme, under the surface. And I actually used social media at that time to call on my network of friends from all around the world, with everybody I was connected to try and get the correct support. It was almost like I was literally so desperate that I like got this megaphone on social media going, help me. This is the precise nature of what I'm going through. Can anyone help? And honestly, through the power of good-hearted people and spreading the word, there is often somebody in your network who does know, and that is what happened for me, thank goodness. I began to create social profiles and use them a lot more because needs must. That was the situation I was in. But I'll never forget one time when I reached out for help, I was explicitly saying, this is what I'm going through. And in the comments, a highly intelligent woman who I like and who, you know, used to be in my group of friends before I lost Facebook, she wrote, I can't understand why you're being abused. You're such a nice person. Whoa. I remember looking at the comment and kind of thinking, literally, what is in her head to have said that? And nobody corrected it. I drew a blank. I was already like going into freeze mode with the abuse I was suffering. I literally was like, I don't know where to start. This is like abuse 101. What does she think? That bad things happen to bad people and good people are safe. And that's it. Black and white, we're all done. Nailed it. I mean, what was in her head? Literally. Like in the nature of manipulation and emotional psychological abuse is the fact that it's undetectable by a lot of people. Surely any intelligent person could grasp this. Apparently not. But the similarity of the pattern there with when you are a person who is perceiving more than average, this extends into working with unseen realms. If we just dismantle that comment about the abuse, like, I can't understand why you're being abused, you're such a nice person, it suggests that she was operating under the mental belief that abuse happens to people who are bad or difficult who deserve it. Now, we know that this is totally false. Abuse happens because it's about power, about control, and it's to do with the person who is doing the perpetrating, causing the harm. So when somebody comes along with a lived experience and a sense of reality that disrupts the original held belief, rather than the person who has the belief going, oh, this is a learning point, this is a place where I can seek to be curious and stay open because this is challenging me. I wonder what it is that I could do to expand my own education and thinking and beliefs and viewpoint here. The person goes, no, I'm going to stay safe and just make your story go like that into my framework. Now, what people need is clear recognition of the truth and validity of their real lived experience. And then from somebody who gets it, some actual appropriate support at a level that matters and will practically shift the needle in a grounded fashion. Where there can be a pattern with people who are carrying unseen gifts or unusual experiences is that they are so much more likely to be unseen, unsupported, unrecognised, invalidated, and invited into a box to make other people feel comfortable. And that is a big problem. You find this wherever you have people who perceive deeply, feel intensely, and who are designed to question norms. Where those people hold complex, nuanced inner worlds, and where their feeling and thinking operates outside of dominant frameworks. There's a big risk of being misread, misinterpreted, not recognised, not properly understood. This is why it's so soothing and provides relief and joy when you are in spaces where somebody can actually really truly witness you in your truth. They can hear what you're saying on a frequency level. Those people tend to be inspired and activated by you rather than triggered into minimizing you. I believe that triggered and activated operate on a very similar continuum. The same as like nerves and fear and excitement. Like nerves and excitement, nerves can, if they get the better of you, they can like stop you doing something, whereas excitement's like, it's kind of the same thing, but it makes you go ahead and do it. That's like the internal feeling. But when you project that outward, then the reaction that other people can have, if they find you to be a person who's like inspiring them and activating them, brilliant, they hear you and they're like, yeah, great. But otherwise, other people can kind of get triggered because it's forcing them, it's kind of confronting them to meet something in themselves that they weren't really prepared for. This is one reason why I create spaces for people who have this expanded perceptual ability, can be held together and seen together, witnessed together. And when people who have those experiences and they don't sense any competition or threat, everybody gets more joyful being around the same kind of people, witnessing each other, all in your own gifts, in your own perceptions. It actually does something like it raises everybody together. Now, the reason I mention this is not only for the very, very real human connection piece and how much better and more settled you feel in your heart from being surrounded by people who can actually hear you, see you, and meet you at your edge. It has real world consequences for how you feel about showing up in the world, building your business, creating offers, how you speak about it, your leadership piece, your visibility, your leadership, your income, literally all of it that's very grounded. Being held in the right spaces has a massive effect on elevating how you feel about yourself, how you talk about your business, the stuff that you create, actually physically what you can do. If you've got that wah, 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 kind of contraction, no good appears there. It's like you've got to be in that space of elevation, expansion, and that happens so much more beautifully and routinely when you have got people who are not in competition with each other. They are actually very inspired and expanded and activated by each other. So I specialise in creating those spaces, and at various points I have usually got one such space in operation. So please check the description below for what is currently on offer in my world if this speaks to you, particularly if you know how this feels and you sense it connected with your business. This is specifically for people who do have a soul mission and they want to be more visible with it and articulate it so much more clearly, confidently, specifically, and that you understand how that works and you love to feel surrounded by people who really get you. Okay, thanks for watching.